Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. This is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show for NFL Week 16. Of course, we do this call every week with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook. And Brent, in NFL Week 16, a lot of interesting lines. The first game I want to ask you about is the Jets-Pats late in the week. About a few hours ago, I decided, screw it. I am going to go on the Jets at plus 17. I'm not going to pass it up. And that's what I did. So I bet it, and I gave it officially as a pick publicly. Did the Sharps touch this game any which way yet?
Wow, you publicly giving out plays like that, huh?
Yes. Too many points, Brent. 17, come on.
Yeah, I know, but the only thing I say that kind of makes me, hesitant on this one is sharp money the other way.
Are you serious?
I can't make this stuff up, Peter.
Oh my God! All right.
Yeah, no, I mean,
tell us about this.
Like this is a list guy who's one of the biggest and
oh my God,
one of the better guys. Now he laid 16.5. So if you got 17.5, I can call you sharp in terms of getting the best value. And we did take some big bets on the plus 17.5, but. Yeah, I mean, the only guy who's a list guy who's involved in this game is on the Patriots, Peter, and that's at minus 16.5. We're back to 17, and yeah, I could probably see it going that way again, simply because my wager count is 3-1 favoring the Patriots, so the public's not afraid of laying it on the Patriots either. And I mean, the Jets, they just you can't help it. You just gotta tell it that color it what it is. They just look so bad. So yeah, 16.5. On this one is where the sharp money came in, Peter. My wager count, like I said, is almost 3-1 favoring the Patriots as well. My money favors the Patriots as well. I wish I had some good news for you on that one. But, no, don't rip up your ticket yet. You never know. Just looking at the total right here as well, I do have sharp money on the over here. Now it was over 43.5. We're sitting at 43 right now. We haven't taken any real sharp money either way on this one, other than the one bet over 43.5. So kind of just sitting at 44. The money's not bad because these games, it seems recently, in terms of the last couple of weeks with the weather factors and stuff like that, the public seems to be overreacting in terms of betting more unders than they typically do. Now you take this this game, the Patriots game in September, October, they'd be pounding you over. That's just the way what they do. But this is one of those games where I got almost even money in terms of the total action, in terms of the dollar volume I've taken. My wager count does, slightly favor the over, but, I'm surprised that the public maybe isn't more on the over like they usually are, but they might be factoring in weather. But I did take sharp action, like I said, on the over 43.5 and the minus 16.5, Peter.
Jeez. All right. Well, also earlier in the week, I also gave the under 44 as a public pick as well. So let's just move on, Brent. The next game I want to ask you about, though, is some good news from a line movement perspective. My partner and I, and my partner in our weekly shows was kind of tailing my lead there, decided that we thought that this week was the week when the Cleveland Browns would finally get a cover, if not an outright win. We recommended a play on Cleveland when it was 6 early in the week on Monday. Now it's all the way down to 4. He asked me about that line movement, and I told him it's 99% that had to have been sharp action moving that line down from 6 to 4. Right, Brent?
Yes, I'm glad this is now you pushing the Cleveland Browns and not me anymore.
Yes.
So I much prefer it that way, because you're talking about teams at 0-14, and let me just do the math. That means they've lost 14 in a row, right? Okay,
Unreal.
yeah. So actually, they're probably then even worse than that going back to last season. But yeah, this is sharp action that's come back on Cleveland. And I don't know, I don't know how. And, San Diego's just not that bad of a team, obviously. Maybe they don't travel well. I mean, an NFL team is home and away splits are definitely, a big deal. But again, we're talking about a team in Cleveland who hasn't won a game yet. And, you talk about, draft position and stuff like that. Not that anyone would, tank or anything like that just to make sure they're getting a draft pick or anything like that. But it's one of those games with San Francisco sitting at 1-13 and Cleveland 0-14. It's like, wow, do you really want to win this game? But facts are the facts, and sharp money is on Cleveland. Now, you titled them at 6, which makes you a wise guy, because of the sharp action. We got 2 sharp bets on Cleveland. The first one was at plus 5.5, dropped all the way down to 4.5. Took another sharp bet at the plus 4.5. Now we're sitting at minus 4. Now I do have a lot more money on Cleveland because of the 2 sharp bets that we took on them. My wager count, no surprise at all, 7-1 in favor of San Diego Chargers. So
wow.
You're definitely bucking the public in this one. But they just pound the heck out of San Diego, which is no surprise at all, of course. And they'll probably continue to do so. They were laying the 6 and laying the 5.5, so they're definitely going to keep laying the 4. So this may creep back up just because of public money. It could get overwhelming. But if more sharps get involved on Cleveland, which I have a sneaky suspicion that if this touches 4.5, they'll jump back on Cleveland because there's more guys who typically look for value in a team like this, getting those points at home this late in the season. We might find some value with them. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one popped up to 4.5 and got hammered back down. But my wager count, as I touched on, way one-sided on San Diego. If I look at, if I factor in the parlays and teasers as well as the straight bets, I actually have more money on San Diego. So, that's kind of why we're sitting at 4 still and haven't played around with the juice at all. Just touching on the total, we're sitting at 43.5 right now on this one. And again, you're talking about teams or one team at least, who hasn't been able to score a whole lot of points. But I got just decent money on the over 43, and over 43.5 is where we are right now. This line had gone up to 44.5 and is back down to 43.5. Wager count almost 2-1 favoring the over. My money's almost 2-1 favoring the over as well. So no sharp action involved in the total, but definitely on the side, Cleveland plus 5.5 and plus 4.5.
All right, Brent. Well, that's what I was expecting to hear. And then another game I wanted to ask about with some interesting line movement is the Sunday game, Baltimore-Pittsburgh. Obviously a huge game with major playoff implications. Figure it would be, probably that we should be expecting a relatively close game here, but the line opened around 4.5 or 5, gotten bet up to 5.5 or 6. I'm wondering if that's just big sharp action, deep-pocketed public action. I'm sorry, big public action, deep-pocketed public action, or if some sharps actually came in on Pittsburgh, laying 4.5 or 5.
Yeah, it's just good two-way action, really, and just more of it going the Steelers' way, basically, more than anything else. My wager count on this game is like dead even. I mean, it's as close as it can be. My money is a massive volume on this game. Great chart. I'm like, if you look at my parlays, teasers, and everything, straight bets, all included, I'm dead even basically on my money, and I'm basically dead even on my chart in terms of how many bets I've taken. So right now, it's just a real good chart for us. The biggest bet I did take on this game was on Baltimore plus 5.5. But again, it wasn't a sharp guy or anything like that. So just bets keep coming in on Pittsburgh and my money. Like I said, it's almost dead even. Let me just see where most of it's come in. It's just kind of like a steady trickle that's come in on Pittsburgh, pretty much driving the number back up. So it is good two-way action that I've got on it, and my money's pretty much even. Bigger individual bets coming in on Pittsburgh, yeah, but in the big picture, I'm pretty much balanced on this game right now, and just six seems to be a number that's working for us right now. Even though I did take, like I said, a bigger bet up plus 5.5, but it wasn't a list guy or anything like that. So sharp action hasn't touched the side on this one. I do have sharp action on the total now. I took what we're going to call a respectable bet on the under 44.5, which is why we're back down to 44. Yesterday we were at 44.5, and that was based on sharp money. Now they delayed it to 44. It was actually minus 5 at the time, but the guy who bet the over is definitely someone who I would, definitely a list guy and a sharp guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if this number went back up. Again, we're getting more money on unders at this time of year in kind of cold weather places. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I mean, Pittsburgh's definitely a cold weather kind of place, and Pittsburgh kind of a cold weather team. Though, you see that. Roethlisberger seems to have no trouble putting up points in bad weather at all. So if I was ever going to feel comfortable about putting up betting an over in a bad weather game, not that it's going to be bad weather on this one yet. We're not sure about that, but Pittsburgh and Roethlisberger is one place where I might do that. But I do have sharp action on the over 44, and they made minus 5. Again, we had gone up to 44.5. Took a respectable, max limit bet back the other way, so that's why we packed back down to 44. I can see that one going back up. But on the side, like I said, just good two-way action. Little more towards Pittsburgh, but not a whole ton either way, so that's why we're back up to 6.
All right. Thanks for that breakdown, Brent. What else can you tell us about notable action from NFL Week 16?
I want to say that Washington and Chicago is one really, really crazy game right now, and just massive volume on this one. The volume is crazy because I've got real strong sharp on Washington, minus 3 even money. This is a list guy who bet them twice. But looking over at Chicago, I have 2 different guys who are on the Bears. One guy was plus 3 minus 5. Another guy plus 3 minus 110. I also have 2 list guys who are on the Bears on the money line. So this is just a real interesting game in terms of the diversity of opinions and how much money I've gotten both ways on this one. Now I do have, like I said, I've got actually 3 different sharps backing the Bears and 1 guy on the Redskins. So if I was going to put my eggs in one basket, it would definitely be with the Bears. But I do want to mention the money line action. The first bet we took was plus 170, and then a second bet from a sharp guy at plus 155. So 2 sharp bets on the money line on the Bears. And the total as well. The total is definitely one side in terms of where the sharp action is, and that's on the over. That came over 45.5. This guy on the over in this game. Now we're sitting up to 47.5 right now. I've got kind of a respectable bet after that. We made a move straight from 45.5 to 46.5. Took a sharp bet there. We're up to 47.5 right now, and of course the public's way all on the over, which is no surprise, especially with the Redskins game. Maybe a little more surprising than betting the Bears over. Thinking cold weather and stuff like that, but could be. It looks like the weather's going to be okay. I think from last I saw there, but sharp action definitely here on the over 45.5. And like I said, with the side, I just want to mention it because it's just a real good two-way action both ways. It was Washington -3 even money. One sharp who bet it twice. And I have three different sharps the other way on the Bears, so you can make of that what you will. But I know where I would, which direction I would go. Another one, Buffalo and Miami. I've just got this is one of those weeks I got really good two-way action on a whole lot of games. The sharpest action of what I got did come on Buffalo -4, but I've got bigger max bets as well the other way on Miami +5.5. So good two-way action there. Again, sharp money, it's all about the number. And these are both list guys, the +5.5, the -4 list guys. So, that's kind of a game where I got a ton of action as well, which is great for us. The biggest big game of the week is clearly going to be the Saints. I have three different sharps all on New Orleans. They're at home to Tampa Bay this week. We're sitting at -3, -130 right now on New Orleans. So I can see that this number getting broken up to 3.5. First sharp bet came in on -3, -05. Took another bet -3, -120. Another bet -3, -125. So here we are at -3, -130. It's getting kind of that time to break the number. The only kind of good thing for us in this spot is that I do have public action on Tampa Bay. Now it's interesting. I think last week same situation with Tampa Bay at Dallas, and Dallas, obviously the public team who always gets a whole lot of public support. But at the time we did this call, actually had more individual bets on the Buccaneers. Same case this week. Almost twice as many bets on the Buccaneers, so I've got some decent public money and some full limit bets back on Tampa Bay from guys with deeper pockets, but not sharp guys. But three different sharps all one way with New Orleans is really quite telling. But like I said, Tampa Bay, we had a lot of public money on Tampa Bay last week, which was kind of surprising. Dallas, and that was +7, so they got the cover there. So who knows in this one? But New Orleans seems to be one of the strongest plays of the week. Atlanta, Carolina, another game. It's crazy this week. Like I say, I've got real good two-way action both ways, and I've got list guys, sharp guys who are on both sides of this one. They're on Atlanta -3 even money, and I have sharp action the other way on Carolina at home. That came at +3, -110, and -115. So we're back and forth between the -3, -15, but good two-way action on that game as well. Again, I just want to mention it so you see some subtle line movement. Got a couple different sharps going on both sides of this one. Down to Cleveland, we talked about that one, and let's expect we always talk about expecting good things from bad teams, but at least this game I've got two bad teams going. That's Rams and San Francisco. I got sharp action on this one. Came on the Rams.
Wow.
Rams money -3.5, -115.
Wow.
Rams now -5. So the Rams -5 are the home favorite now. My count on this game is almost like 1.5, not quite 2 times favoring the Rams. So the pub is kind of, I guess, sour on the 49ers, which you can understand. Obviously, you're talking about a team who's lost 13 games in a row. So Rams sharp money -3.5, -115. I also took sharp money on the total of this game. My wager count is pretty much dead even, but I have a whole lot more money on the under. That's because we took sharp money on the under 40 in this game. So Rams the side -3.5 and the under 40 as well. Arizona and Seattle is interesting. I don't have any sharp action on this game. Just a good two-way action. Definitely my count does favor Seattle, but no sharp action on this one. Kind of surprised that the sharp guys haven't jumped in on Arizona, but maybe that's been telling. Just 7.5 seems like a lot to be giving to them, but maybe I'm still thinking they're a lot better team than like they were last year. Down to Cincinnati and Houston, I do have sharp action on this one, and as you could probably tell by the line movement, Cincinnati +2.5 was sharp. Yesterday this game had gone all the way down to a pick. I did get kind of like respectable money back on Houston at a pick finally, so back up to -1 on Houston. They're at home to Cincinnati. But I do have, definitely this guy who was on Cincinnati at the +2.5. This is another game where I also have sharp action on the total. Sharp action here came on the over 41. We're up to 42 right now. My wager count, no surprise, almost 2-1 favoring the over here, but sharp action did come on the over 41. And again, as I touched on the side, Cincinnati plus 2.5. We talked about the Baltimore total. Down to Denver, just a ton of sharp action here. Denver Broncos plus 4, minus 0.5. They're sharp there this week. They're at Kansas City. This is one of the only 2 Sunday games, so the Chiefs are at home as a minus 3, minus 130 favorite right now. But Denver plus 4, minus 0.5 was sharp. My money's almost 2-1 favoring Denver because of the sharp action that it was. My wager count, 3-1 in favoring Kansas City. So I have a lot of public money all over the Chiefs at home, but the sharp money one-sided on the Broncos plus 4, minus 0.5. Catching my breath and going to Monday night. Detroit and Dallas. Dallas is a 6.5-point favorite right now. I've got good two-way action on the side of this one as well, and I've got sharp action both ways. Sharp action on Detroit came plus 7.5, and actually sharp action was on Dallas at minus 7 is where it came in. So we're down below where that initial sharp bet came in. It'd be interesting to see they come back in and drive that number back up. But I've just got a lot more money on Detroit right now, which is kind of surprising. My wager count's almost dead even, but just a real good chart in terms of the volume I have on this one. The sharp action on this game, though, I do have action on the total, which was sharp. Now this is a clear one-sided sharp action on the over 42.5. My chart just a massive count, like 5 or 6 to 1. We'll call it 5 to 1, favoring the over. So I've got public on the over. I mean, public on betting the over on a Dallas-Detroit game. There's just no surprise at all there. But sharp action may be surprising. That came at over 42.5. We jumped up to 43.5. 44, still getting over money as well. So this one could climb up. I've got just nothing but over money, even at 44. Not a drop on the under. So I'm out of breath, and that's everything, Peter.
Oh, man. Brent, thanks so much for all of this, and we'll talk to you again next week for NFL Week 17.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.